Hello, and welcome to another Firewood News Update. Now, I had to dig deep for some firewood news this month for this episode. There isn't a lot out there as it is kind of the middle of the summer and there's not a lot of firewood news, but I did find a few things that could be of interest to somebody out there in the world. There was the normal rash of don't move firewood, buy it where you burn it things. Several counties and townships are enacting new rules of quarantining ash, firewood, and that type of thing, trying to slow the spread of the emerald ash borer. Now, notice I said slow the spread because you're never going to stop the emerald ash borer. It's already everywhere, and all the experts that I've seen have pretty much agreed that the emerald ash borer is going to wipe out all the ash trees. So they can enact these quarantines and things, and I don't really know how much you can slow the spread of these beetles from flying around. But that's all out there, and that's going on, so they're trying to, I guess, slow it down. It's a matter of, do you want the ash trees to go away now or in a year from now? Anyways, and then the other things, there's a ton of permitting and things. National parks permitting, state-owned parks that are permitting firewood cutting. You can check your own local area and municipality for those permits, and if you want to go cut storm damaged wood from parks and government-owned land and that type of thing, there's about 10 different ones of those. I'm not going to go through them all. So that's going on as well. We've talked about that in the past. You can do that on your own. So we're going to go ahead and move on into some firewood news here now, and this is in the Parkman Township in Ohio at the Overlook Park Pavilion. They have a fireplace there, and it's too expensive to rebuild that fireplace. I guess it's in disrepair. They had a meeting on it, brief discussions. Would cost $25,000 to rebuild that fireplace. Now, the fireplace industry is one where it could really use some people that are willing to work and do jobs cheap. I've seen jobs quoted just to replace like the flue liner on a fireplace is like $12,000, and you can get online and find the kits for those fireplaces, and it's like $1,300 in parts. So these companies are charging, $10,000 in labor to replace the flue of the metal flue liners on the double line stovepipe that goes up. They're charging like $10,000 in labor to do that. If somebody wanted to work hard and go do that, I think you could save a lot of people a lot of money. I mean, you could do the job for $5,000 and it's still too expensive and make a lot of money. I mean, I think, if you were making $1,000 a day, that's pretty good money, and that would mean that job should be about a $2,500 job. But talking to fireplace people, they said they erect scaffolding along the side of your house, and then they remove the top of the chimney cap, and they come in from the top, and they can actually climb down inside of most chimneys and take that flue pipe out. But still, I mean, you could rent scaffolding for a few $100s a day and do that job. So I understand I'm getting way off topic here. Now, this park in Ohio, I guess the local community doesn't have the tax money to replace the fireplace, and I understand why. It's $25,000 to rebuild this brick fireplace. The chimneys, I guess, the chimney is in disrepair, and there's a couple loose bricks. So that's going on in Ohio. Now, next, let me see what we got here. In Colorado, in the mountains of Colorado, they are placing fire restrictions. You're not allowed to burn open fires or have any explosive materials at these remote camping sites. This began Friday, June 27th, for all lands managed by the White River National Forest and the Bureau of Land Management, Upper Colorado District. They have stage 1 restrictions. No campfires allowed anywhere unless you're in a designated site at a prepared campground with a fire ring. It also prohibits the use of explosive material, including explosive targets. That's all prohibited under the stage 1 restrictions. And it includes things like welding equipment, internal combustion engines that lack a spark arrestor, And there's some other unincorporated areas and lands in Eagle, Garfield, Mesa, Pitkin, and Summit counties will also have some restrictions. You can visit the website and get more information on that at the USDA.gov White River website there, or the Bureau of Land Management. And next, there's also some campfire and shooting restrictions that begin July 1st. And in Washington, the Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife in Olympia, Washington, is also implementing seasonal fire safety measures. It's important for the public to cooperate. You're not allowed to have campfires and open flames, are banned entirely, even in fire rings. Only personal stoves and lanterns that use propane are allowed, and you're supposed to do that in an area with no vegetation, preferably on gravel or sand. No target shooting except for lawful hunting, and that goes until August 15th. Through August 15th, there's 2 shooting ranges you can shoot at the Department of Fish and Wildlife shooting ranges at the Methlo Wildlife Area and the Assotin Creek Wildlife Area Unit. But after August 15th, August 16th through September 15th, all target shooting will be banned. I guess that's the driest part of the year. Now, you're not allowed to smoke cigarettes in any of these, either of those bans I just talked about. You're supposed to be in an enclosed vehicle. No open flames, power tools, welding equipment, chainsaw, torches, that type of thing. And motor vehicles are only supposed to be operated on the road or within 10 feet of the road in non-vegetated areas. So you got to watch your smoking. They say it's always illegal to throw burning materials from a car at any time, and you're not supposed to do that, obviously. So that's going on in Washington and Colorado. Gotta clamp down on the summer campfires. Be careful out there. Now, also in Colorado, there's another company. In our previous Firewood News Update, we talked about burning fruit waste, and now we're going to talk about burning coffee grounds. There's a Colorado company called Blazin' Joe that started up by 2 college roommates now, and one of their dads discovered that burning coffee grounds had a lot of energy in it. They say that it has more stored energy than wood. They say that it burns hotter, longer, and cleaner, and they saw a huge opportunity, but they found that drying the coffee grounds was energy intensive, that they're not easy to dry because they're repurposing these coffee grounds from local coffee restaurants. So they found that the chaff from the coffee making process is a better product than the grounds, and they've been using the coffee chaff and recycling it and turning them into fire starters and fire logs. So if you want to burn some coffee chaff and see how that does for firewood, you can go contact this company. I think they have a website. They're selling them in some local stores, and they're working on getting distribution channels. They say it's a grind, though. And that's pretty much it for that story. I said the name of the company already. Blazin' Joe is the name of that. You can burn some coffee grounds. So you check that out if you're interested in seeing how coffee grounds born. But I have a feeling that there's no substitute for a good old-fashioned firewood. And there's a lot of products that do similar things, but I think I'm going to stick with the wood. Now, those coffees, the fire starters might be good, made out of coffee and like some paraffin wax and some coffee or something. The fire starters, I might be interested in that. Anyways, moving right along here in Hopkinton, they had a brush fire that got out of hand and got into the woods and started a fire in the woods. That was a permitted brush fire that somebody was burning, and I guess it blew away and set the woods on fire. And that was around 12 o'clock in the afternoon, 12:48 p.m. Crews responded to that. They had to have 20 different firefighters on the scene, soak it down. They had units from 2 or 3 different townships show up. Hopedale and Upton provided tanker trucks, and Westboro and Southboro provided additional manpower. So I think that's 4 different municipalities responded, 20 firefighters. They got it under control within 30 minutes, soaked it down really good, and no injuries were reported there. Later that day, it appears, about 5 p.m., They then responded to a log truck that had caught on fire. And now this log truck had 30-inch diameter logs on it, totally loaded, and some of the logs caught on fire. They said they have no idea what caused it, and that's pretty weird if you ask me, that logs that big would spontaneously combust, but somehow a log truck caught on fire and it was unattended. So the firefighters unloaded the logs and soaked them down in water and then reloaded the truck. So they're just saying it's dry out and people should use an abundance of caution. So that was going on out there. I don't remember where the heck we were, but Hopkinton is in Massachusetts. Now next, I found an article talking about the market for log splitters is a growing market. You can make a lot of money from selling log splitters. I've seen some guys doing really well. I saw a documentary on a guy. He had a whole hangar full of jet airplanes and prop planes from the military and all kinds of stuff. Make a lot of money doing it. So the market size as of 2023 for log splitters was $3.1 billion. So by 2033, the market size is expected to be $5.6 billion. And that's like I said, that's a 6% annual rate from 2025 through 2033. The market is witnessing steady growth driven by rising demand for firewood and residential heating. All this new high efficiency technology with wood burning stoves is fueling a demand for alternative heating sources and renewable heating. So there's a big growing demand. A lot of people still into firewood, which is good news for the firewood community, the log splitter communities. We're expecting to see continuous, consistent growth over the coming years. All right now, and moving right along, there was a Lawrence County man who died because he was using his log splitter in the garage. Several other people were injured, but they were using a gas log splitter inside their garage, and this was in Pittsburgh, Lawrence County, in Slippery Township. 85-year-old Donald Robinson was using his wood splitter, and his wife entered the garage to check on him, and I guess stayed with him because he was unconscious. And she also called her son, who came to the scene and went into the garage. And when the fire department arrived, the gentleman was dead. The 85-year-old gentleman was dead, and his wife and son were both unresponsive, unconscious. So they all went into the garage, and the fumes were in there. Got to be careful with that. Use it in a well-ventilated area. I mean, I have started my log splitter in the garage briefly just to test something, but you don't want to run it for more than 20 or 30 seconds, certainly, and it should be in a well-ventilated area the whole time. You shouldn't do it at all, honestly. So for YouTube's sake and safety's sake, I would say go ahead and open the door. So prayers to that family. That's not a good thing. Accidents do happen. Moving right along, in other log splitter news, the Oregon Tool Company has recalled several different log splitter brands due to the cylinder malfunctioning. Apparently, the cylinder rod can separate from the piston and can cause unexpected movements, and it can get stuck in the extended position and refuse to retract. So they're recalling these units, and they say if your piston gets stuck or moves erratically, don't continue to use the machine. Stop it and call immediately, and they'll send you a new one and repair this thing, whatever it takes. But I'll probably put a graphic on the screen here, and you can look at these different models. Because this is a government website I'm on. It shouldn't be copyrighted. It's the Consumer Protection Safety Commission at a government website. This recall includes brands from Oregon, Power Pro, Country Tough, and Spico branded log splitters. These log splitters were sold at big box stores, Lowe's, Tractor Supply, and other stores nationwide, and through online retailers from July of 2020 through December of 2023. They retailed between $1,500 and $2,745. and that was made by Oregon Tool Inc. of Portland, Oregon, but it was manufactured in China. So I think most of these big box store log splitters are, the parts all come from China. And moving right along, there's more campfire restrictions. I just noticed this was out of order, but this is the lower Rogue River beginning June 27th in Oregon and Washington, Southwest Oregon Bureau of Land Management, Medford District, the Rogue River Siskiyou National Forest, and the Oregon Department of Forestry, Southwest Oregon District officials are restricting campfire use on lands located within the boundaries of the wild section of the Rogue National Wild and Scenic River. That was a mouthful. So along the wild section of the Rogue National Wild and Scenic River, you can't have fires. That's basically what I just said. That's basically the gist of it there. This prohibits building, maintaining, or attending a fire except campfires that are permitted only within a raised fire pan or similar device that will contain the fire and its residue in a free natural area with no vegetation below the high water mark of the river. So you have to be on the gravel, in the stream bed where there's no plants or vegetation or leaves or anything. And all ashes are to be carried out, it says, which seems kind of difficult. You're supposed to rake up your ashes and carry them out of there. And if you're using a cooking stove, again, use it in an area that's free from vegetation. And all groups are required to have a shovel and a bucket. And no smoking is allowed unless you're aboard a watercraft in operation on the river or at rest on the river. So if you're on the water, you can smoke, and you can be on sand or gravel bars between the river and high water mark, and if they're naturally free from flammable vegetation. Possessing, discharging, or using any kind of firework or other pyrotechnic device is strictly prohibited. For more information, you can go to the Oregon-Washington Fire Management page, and the full order can be found at the RRSNF website. So that's going to about cover the firewood news updates. We're in the heat of the dry season now. We got a lot of burn bans. Be careful with your campfires. Be careful with your log splitters if they have any problems. And if you want to burn some coffee grounds, go check out that company. Anyways, I'll check in with you guys in a month or so as we get more firewood news rolling in. Have a good day. That is going to take some editing. Scratch what I just said. Never mind that.